Projekt Guru.
Всем привет! С вами Zak Novak на радиостанции Novorossia Rocks. Welcome to Novorossia Rocks radio station. This is Zak Novak, your American in downtown Donetsk. The program is called Projekt Guru, and Guru is back and in the house as always. Andre, my engineer, let's get right to it. War crimes, more cowardly attacks on civilian areas by US-backed Ukraine Junta regime. Nazi Ukraine forces shelled from mortars the outskirts of 3 villages to the north of Donetsk late on Sunday, according to our local law enforcement. Between 9:20 last night to 1:30 in the morning, Nazi Ukrainian side conducted the shelling of the outskirts of Yasinovata, Spartak, and Sahanka. Fascist Ukraine troops opened fire from mortars calibers of 82 and 120. Repeat, 82 and 120. A total of 38 shells were fired from Kiev forces positions, according to the source. Along with the mortars, Nazi Ukrainian troops also used infantry combat vehicles, grenade launchers, and small arms, all on civilian areas. War crimes. Criminal as US-backed Ukraine Nazi regime cowardly attacking civilian areas. Over 23,000 homes destroyed. More than 23,000 private houses and apartment block buildings have been damaged or destroyed in Donetsk People's Republic in the armed conflict, the DPR Ministry of Construction, Housing and Utilities sector said on Monday. Most buildings, 7,304 private houses and over 2,000 apartment blocks were destroyed in Donetsk and its outskirts. The massive shellings carried out by Nazi Kiev forces destroyed 2,233 private homes and 816 apartment blocks in Gorlovka to the north of Donetsk. Another 1,255 private homes and 202 apartment blocks were damaged in neighboring Debeltsevo. According to United Nations, more than 9,500 people were killed, and nearly 22,000 others were wounded since the conflict in Ukraine began in spring of 2014. War crimes by the US-Saudi coalition, the indiscriminate killing of civilians in Yemen, 21 more dead by airstrikes. A series of US-Saudi coalition airstrikes against targets in northern Yemen have killed at least 21 civilians and wounded scores of others, with the larger of the 2 strikes occurring at a water drilling site in the Arhab district due north of the capital city of Sana'a. The first airstrike killed 4 workers at the site and attracted local villagers who aimed to carry out a rescue effort. 5 more strikes targeted the rescuers, killing at least 7 more civilians and wounding at least another 20, though locals reported that the toll was likely far higher, claiming around 100 casualties. Saudi officials claim that the attacks on the water drilling site targeted Shiite Houthi members, though it does not appear that any were present at the time, nor does it appear that the site was a Houthi position, as they are claiming, beyond being nominally in Houthi territory. The second attack targeted a local tribal leader in the Hajab province, destroying his home and killing at least 6 civilians. It is unclear if the tribal leader was among the slain, and Saudi officials did not specify why he was targeted in the first place. Andre, listen to this. Puppets South Korea threatens to reduce entire North Korean capital city Pyongyang of 2.5 million people to ashes, KMPR, while international officials continue to express confusion as to why North Korea would even consider acquiring nuclear weapons in defiance of UN edicts. The puppets of South Korea's defense ministry revealed plans to reduce the entire North Korean capital city of Pyongyang, city of 2.5 million people, to ashes. The fascist defense ministry refers to the plan as the Korea Massive Punishment and Retaliation Plan and described it as reducing the entire city of Pyongyang, including every single district, to ashes and removing the city from the map outright through military force. Officials said the KMPR would be put into effect either if the fascist South Korean military sees any sign of imminent North Korean use of nuclear arms or in case of war. Technically, the 2 nations are already at war and have been for generations, though exact details are not fully public. Reports suggest that puppets of South Korea would plan to use its substantial conventional arsenal of ballistic missiles to wipe out the city, and officials confirmed that North Korean leadership would be targeted, as well. North Korea conducted an underground nuclear test last week, the 5th of its kind. Such tests tend to be followed by increased threats from U.S. and South Korean officials, though the specifics in this case is likely to fuel North Korea's belief that it needs such arms for defensive purposes. As always, U.S. officials exaggerating about Iranian speedboats harassing American warships. Iranian Brigadier General Masoud Jazayeri today denied U.S. claims that Iran is systematically harassing American warships that are operating off Iran's coast in the Persian Gulf, saying the U.S. has repeatedly exaggerated how close Iranian speedboats actually were during putative incidents and that Iran was always following international rules. U.S. officials have repeatedly accused Iran of unprofessional and unsafe conduct in the Gulf, with incidents in which Iranian speedboats got within several hundred meters of American warships. The Pentagon has claimed Iran's behavior is getting worse in recent weeks. When Iranian vessels pass the Americans a few kilometers away from them, they claim that Iranian boats have come within 1 kilometer, Jazayeri noted. In many of the incidents, Iranian boats never even left their own territorial waters, but just came within visual range of U.S. warships. Iranian officials have previously insisted that they will continue to react when foreign warships are deployed off their coast. The U.S. has made parking a substantial number of warships along the coast a matter of policy for years now. Back to our comrades of North Korea DPRK, listen to this: total incompetence and absurd statements coming from puppet leader of South Korea, Park Geun-hye. North Korea's National Reconciliation Council, NRC, has strongly condemned the negative assessments of the situation on the Korean Peninsula by South Korean President Park Geun-hye. The council said in a statement published on Sunday that Park described the actions of North Korea as reckless and tyrannical and the situation in the country as an emergency. NRC stressed that Park should refrain from such absurd statements as she demonstrates complete incompetence in assessing the social system in DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. North Korea will continue to pursue the path of progress by simultaneously developing the economy and strengthening nuclear forces. The South Korean president will have to pay a great price for her policy aimed at escalating confrontation with compatriots in the north, NRC noted. The North Korean state-run Rodong Sinmun newspaper also criticized Park for cooperating with the United States and condemning the nuclear test carried out by Pyongyang on September 9th. While trying to isolate and suffocate DPRK in alliance with the U.S., Park Geun-hye does not see the new tendencies in the modern world, the newspaper wrote. However, the time has passed when Washington had an opportunity to unilaterally blackmail DPRK with its nuclear power. Russia and the U.S. regime negotiate a ceasefire for Syria, scheduled for Monday evening. While it took a little bit longer to get them on board, Syrian rebels have ultimately agreed to participate in the new U.S.-Russia negotiated ceasefire scheduled to begin on Monday evening. The rebels continue to express doubts that it would amount to anything and predicted Russia would be violating the deal despite having negotiated it in the first place. The Syrian government was a lot faster in accepting the deal, saying that they in particular liked the idea of establishing Castello Road leading into Aleppo, a demilitarized zone so that humanitarian aid could reach civilians in all districts of the city. How well that's going to work is also anyone's guess, as like the February ceasefire, this one is also explicitly excludes both ISIS and the Nusra Front. Nusra controls half of Aleppo and has substantial forces in the surrounding area. They also have no real incentive to stick by the demilitarized zone if they think they can capture the road for themselves. A big problem the last time around was that Nusra, while being excluded from the ceasefire, was also embedded with a lot of rebels meant to be included in it, causing confusion. U.S. Ambassador Michael Ratney warned the rebels involved in the ceasefire of dire consequences if they don't stay away from Nusra. Under this deal, the U.S. and Russia will decide when Nusra is present and when they are not in a group of rebels. A lot of the rebel doubts about the ceasefire are the same as they were the last time, centering on general distrust of the government and Russia. Secretary of State John Kerry echoed those concerns while he was announcing the deal, and by and large this seems just to be an effort to set up talking points for if the plan fails. Turkey's addition to the situation in Syria, having invaded last month, also adds some complexity to the new ceasefire, though they too endorsed the deal, since they've insisted in the past they don't recognize any difference between ISIS and the Kurds. However, it is unclear if Turkey will feel itself at all constrained by the deal. Hey everybody, that ends our program, but before I end it, 2 great birthdays. Bashar Assad, Viva Syria, happy birthday. And of course, Novorossia TV, Novorossia Television on air, 2-year anniversary, happy birthday. Everyone, as I stress always, be safe out there, stay on alert, and see you all on Wednesday. Bye-bye, folks.